We are creating it.
It's live.
All right, welcome everybody to the third installment of the NFC East Podcast. This is the Week 7 recap. This week, the Cowboys versed off against the Commanders and emerged victorious. And the Eagles versus the Vikings, and they were able to recover. And the Giants, we'll get to that in a second. But before we do, Dan, how you doing this week?
Bro, another day, another dollar, man. Just got done a 5-hour drive, bro. Your dude's tired, but we still here.
Joey.
We still here.
Joey, how you doing?
Doing great. Watched a great football game today. I'm really wondering, Scott, how are you doing?
Are we doing this now? We're gonna talk about Giants Broncos. All right.
I think that's where we have to start after that epic meltdown we saw.
Yeah.
33 points allowed in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's where I would probably start with this one. This was probably the most angry I've been at a Giants game in maybe since we got blown out by the Cowboys to start off the 2023 season, because there are some expectations attached to this game, right? I don't think it was common to project us to win. The Broncos were still favored by like 7 going into this game, kind of like the Eagles game. But, with the start the Giants had in this game, you would have expected that this was a game that we could pull out. A team that's supposed to lean on the run, their defense, and their pass rush. This was the perfect game script for us to finish off this game. But shutting out the Broncos for 3 quarters, as Joey has so kindly reminded me, allowing 33 points in the fourth quarter. And not only that, that wasn't even just one of the reasons we lost. There were multiple reasons that we lost this game so many times in the last 5 minutes. And to me, I'll start with this because I'll go in chronological order. The Jackson Dart interception on second down was, for one, a bad play call by Brian Dable, ignoring the game script that we were in instead of forcing the Broncos to, basically have to drive the full length of the field and just running it and going 3 and out. And Dart makes a horrible read, seeing a linebacker who was lined up in that 2A gap formation, coming across the formation. I don't know if he lost him, couldn't see him from the offensive line or what, but he threw it directly to him in our own territory, handing them a touchdown after we had already led up 2. And that was the first thing that went drastically wrong, and you just were shaking your head at it. Secondly, the Giants, on third down, we throw it deep to Wandale, and Dart misses him, and we punt it back to the Broncos, and they get all the way down the field. And, man, our defense just completely blew it and allowed the touchdown, and then we get the ball back, and we have this crazy drive, just really orchestrated by not much offense or anything like that. You know what it was I'll give Dart credit for this. The completion to Wandale on 4th and 19, it didn't quite look like a first down to me. It looked about a half yard short, maybe a quarter yard short, but either way, they would have reviewed it or whatever. But we got the first down because of a roughing the passer call. And it was a kind of a soft call. Was it a late hit? Yes, it was a late hit. But we were gifted a first down. And then Dart, again, just heaving it downfield. 2 passes that should have been intercepted. One of them got broken up by a Broncos defender as they both collided trying to intercept the pass. Dart throws it one more time to the corner of the end zone, and we get a pass interference call that hands us first and goal from the 1. Brian Dable comes up with a pretty good play call, and Dart rushes it in for a touchdown, leaving 39, 37, 38 seconds on the clock, something like that. And even as a Giants fan, you knew this was just the same thing all over again with the Cowboys game. This game wasn't over. Somehow this game wasn't over when you take the lead right there. And you know what else it was? I didn't even mention this. Reason number 3, the kicker. June McAdder, or whatever his name is, missing the extra point. This is like, it happened multiple times this year. It seems like left and right across the league. Every team has a kicker who can make a 50-yard field goal like it's a chip shot, and we can't make extra points. We can't make extra points as an NFL team. Young Ho Koo, what is up with him? Where is he? We need him. Now, I know he got cut, but he's got to be better than this guy. We need to leave him in Denver. I cannot believe that we were only able to go up by 2 points because of that. Losing my mind. So not only if the defense blows it do we go into overtime like the Cowboys game, it's even worse. Because now if they get a field goal, they win the game. And so what happens? Our elite defense in the Mile High Stadium is gassed. It's just completely and utterly gassed. So what happens on the first play? The same exact thing. Deep streaking routes down the field. Cortland Sutton was crossing the receiver who ended up catching this pass all the way down to our 47-yard line. Our 47-yard line from their 23. How do you let that up? There were 5 Giants defenders in the vicinity around 2 Broncos wide receivers. 2. 5 on 2. And Bo Nix threads the needle there. And then not only that, I get Burns had some kind of injury, but this didn't help. They hiked the ball before we get back to the other side of the line of scrimmage. Fundamental things in a hurry-up situation because they didn't have timeouts. They had to spike the ball. And you think, okay, this is a long field goal. We might still have a chance here. No. Because you know what happened next? Another 20-yard completion, and they spiked the ball down with 3 seconds left and kicked the game-winning field goal. So, to reiterate my 3 main points, Dart, hideous read, and bad play call by Dable to throw that interception in that situation up 2 scores with like 5.5 minutes left. The defense, not being able to stop a nosebleed from making a 45-yard completion when you need to just stop them from doing anything. We couldn't even stop them from having 1 completion on that drive. And then the kicker. Why can't we have a kicker on the New York Giants that can make extra points? 3 main reasons right there. Joey, go. What are your thoughts?
On the Giants?
Yeah, the Giants. What do you think about their performance? If you could call it that.
You brought up the fundamental part of that again about how you guys weren't back at the line of scrimmage. And the first thing I think of where that would never happen is if you had Joe Judge as head coach. He was all about the fundamentals, and that's just something you wouldn't see. And that's something that Brian Daboll seems to lack is just the little things he does wrong. The little things always seem to be wrong. And then to add to that, I think you're missing some key stuff here with that
it's Tuesday.
Game-winning Giants drive. Because, the 4th and 19, you guys should never had an opportunity. You guys should never been an opportunity to begin with. Because, you guys didn't convert the 4th and 19. And then that deep ball that got called pass interference was like a give me. Like, that was not a pass interference. You can't call that in that situation, right? Put you guys at the 1-yard line. And why are you giving them the ball back with time anyway? Wouldn't you just eat the clock there? Didn't you have your timeouts? Like, why are we punching the ball right away? You know what I mean? Just a few different things there. And then the kicker thing just blows my mind. I can't relate to it at all. Because of Brandon Aubrey, obviously. We can kick it from 70 yards out, and it's going to be right down the middle. But it's not about Cowboys right now. I just don't understand how you guys can rotate or how you guys have rotated these 3 kickers. Another thing is, like, you guys could have cut Graham Gano and saved the money and had, like, a real competition. And you had 2 7th-round – I heard Bobby Skinner say this. I was on this podcast listening to it earlier today. Talking about the I think there's a rookie kicker – There's a rookie kicker Patterson somewhere. I forget what team he's on. But either way, you guys had 2 7th-round picks you could have used on a kicker and had a real competition, and you guys just refused to do that. And instead, you brought back Graham Gano, had no real competition, and just gave him the job, and now we're here. So the kicking thing blows my mind. I'd be absurdly frustrated with the way you guys lost that game. And I was wondering, Scott, like, after that missed extra point, did you know it was over at that moment? That's what I'm wondering.
I had a really, really bad feeling because I thought, hey, maybe we could get them pushed back, get a nice tackle on the kick return. That was step 1. Have the pass rush get after it, maybe be aggressive and play some tight man coverage because the whole back off and play like prevent defense thing has not been working. But that looks terrible if you let up a big completion downfield. I mean, we saw Jalen Hurts do that against the Vikings. Yeah, I had a really bad feeling when we missed that extra point. And at no point in this game after they started coming back did I feel confident that we were going to win. I felt like we were deep down inside. I was watching this with some Giants fans. I was being optimistic, but I had a feeling the whole time I wasn't going to be satisfied. I mean, after the Dart touchdown, I felt pretty good, but the extra point miss, no, I felt pretty bad. I felt pretty bad about the situation. Just momentum in general. Defense is scared now. We're losing to let this up.
Also, what did you think of Nick? What's his name? Benito's comments going into this game.
I think
and how active he was.
From what I saw, apparently he only played on one side, but he wasn't lining up over Thomas, so it seemed like he ducked him. I don't know how many snaps they had matched up against each other, but Andrew Thomas has handled Myles Garrett one-on-one like last year. That allows us to win games against teams with elite edge rushers. So I understand Nick Benito is a great player, but, that's a Broncos defense that allows him to succeed the way, he does. And I don't think he was the reason that they won this game. So whatever he said before and after to me is irrelevant because
what they say, Jerry?
There was just a lot of back and forth all week on Twitter with Giants fans, and then the two Broncos DNs, Nick Morabito or Nick, I just said a Mets prospect, Nick Benito, and then who's the other DN on the Broncos? He was also talking a lot of trash. Jonathan, but I think a lot of the stems. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Jonathan. His last name's escaping me at the moment, but I know it's not Grenard. That's a Vikings player, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Jonathan.
I think a lot of this Twitter beef with him spawns from him growing up a Giants fan. That's the thing that people are ignoring because Giants fans were pulling up his old tweets, and it's him rooting for the Giants. So I think that's why he was so engaged. He called Giants fans basically delusional, and then deleted the tweet about going into this week and beating them. So
Jonathan Cooper.
There's a lot of Jonathan Cooper. There was a lot of beef going into this game. It was really exciting to track going into it, and then seeing it lose in a fireworks type of way was just unbelievable.
It's like a burning pirate ship. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean. The ship's exploding around me as the Giants crumble. Even when they should have the game in the bag, extra point missed, and I'm just accepting my fate. So, Dan, do you have any comments on the Giants blowing a 19-0 lead, shutting them out for 3 quarters?
Yeah, I guess that's what kind of my question was. It was like, do you feel as if that – because at first when we watched the Eagles-Giants last week, I know there was a lot of, hope that you had that, hey, things might be put together. Things might be, going in the right direction, everything like that. So I guess now my question is just, do you now see the Giants back at square one, or do you think this was just a little hiccup or –
I want to add to it, too, what he's saying.
Okay.
To add to what Danny's saying, is this a Brian Daboll loss?
I don't really think so. The offense put up 32 points. I think Dart looks pretty good under Daboll. I thought the play calls have been creative. That call to get Dart from the 1 on a QB draw after lining up in an initially really heavy formation, I thought was a good play call. I think the overall management of the team, the kind of not having a kicker thing. I don't know how he communicates with Shane Bowen about the defense and their strategy, but I think whatever he can do to help him get more involved in those prevent situations, he has to do, and the sort of fundamental things. Yes, I think obviously the head coach is responsible for every loss, but are we back at square one? I don't think so. I think what this is it's like we saw the Giants completely fumble a game away against the Saints. We had every opportunity to finish. That game against the Eagles could have gone wrong at any moment. You better believe this could have. I was not confident we were going to win that game until about 3 minutes left or so. We're up 2 scores. Okay, we're probably going to win this game. We're up 5 minutes left in this game. My thought process was, all right, we're up 2 scores. We just need to run the ball, hopefully get 1 first down, maybe 2, punt the ball away, force them to come all the way down the field, and then, they probably won't have enough time for that second drive. And we had every opportunity to do that. But that play call to have us throw on second down was cheeky, and it was unnecessary, and Dart made it worse by throwing it straight to a defender in our territory. So to me, it's it seems like a simple thing to fix a kicker. Obviously, we're struggling with that, so I'm not going to say that's an easy fix, but it's a matter of making the extra point or not. It's a matter of not making that play call and throwing that interception. And it's a matter of us tightening up on defense in these prevent situations, which honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the other two are more likely to get figured out. I don't know what it is about the defense, but I just don't trust it in these late game situations. But do I think we're back at square one? No, I think obviously the Giants have shown the Broncos are a great team. The Eagles are a great team. The Chargers are a great team. You know, if we're playing through this, that was the Russ era, so I kind of don't include like whatever was before Dart. But I think it's like the Giants have proven they can play with pretty much anyone. It's just how are they going to lose the game? Right. So if that's square one, yeah, we're there. I mean, if we won this game, who knows what that momentum could have carried us with.
Mm-hmm.
But I never truly believed that Eagles win was, you know, anything more than us exploiting a vulnerable team. You guys didn't have Carter. You didn't have Quignon. And obviously, it was huge for the Giants from a culture standpoint. Primetime Dart Scatterboo, you know, being the offense. But we didn't mess it up. That's our formula, and we messed it up today. So that's why we lost. We got away from what we're good at. We tried to do something dumb in the worst possible time. Other things went wrong, but we got away from our identity. But I think that's enough about the Giants. The Giants' brutal loss. Let's move on to the Cowboys and Commanders game.
You don't want to go to the Eagles first?
We could go to the Eagles first.
I want to hear about the Eagles, Danny.
Yeah, okay, let's do this.
He just wants to know. He just wants to know so bad. Okay. Eagles come up with a dub. Of course, we're back in the win column. 28-22. Overall, for me, what I kind of saw was going into it, of course, first thinking about it, seeing that the Vikings were, second overall in passing yards allowed. They were, I think, ranked between either fifth or sixth defense total. There was a bunch of drama. There's been a bunch of questions. Everybody thought the Eagles were kind of sold out, cut out, and reversing one of the good teams in the NFC North. One of the ones that might win it this year. Who knows how that's going to look. But Hurts comes up, starts balling out, throws for 327. A.J. Brown, 4 for 121. What's it called? 2 touchdowns. Smitty ends up coming down with a touchdown. I thought overall great adjustment. I noticed for me watching it, the focus wasn't really Saquon anymore, but you could tell that Flores' main focus was trying to stop Saquon, hence why every single time that dude touched the ball, it's almost like people were just going through 24/7. It did kind of suck because we got Cam Jurgens hurt in the middle of the game. Adoree Jackson got absolutely clobbered, and then concussion protocol. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and there was one more. Nakobe Dean just came back this game, which was pretty nice.
There was a collision with the corner and a D tackle. I don't know.
Yeah, that was Adoree Jackson. That was Adoree Jackson. No, the last person was Ojulari. Ojulari, that's who got hurt. Yeah, his shoulder. Yeah.
Was he out for the game?
He was out for the game.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, so it was after the botch snap from Wentz, but it looked. I'm not gonna lie, you're 6'5". If it's that high, like that's a bad snap personally from a center standpoint. So yeah, Ojulari, when he went to go slide, they said that he jacked up his shoulder and then he was out for the rest of the game. Overall, to me, I thought it was just a great adjustment. Hurts was handling the blitz very well. He was able to put the ball where it needed to be. Smitty got a lot more action than I've seen in a couple weeks. To me, now it kind of shows that I'm curious, I guess, for me, going in these next couple weeks, our defense is now going to adjust to stopping Hurts, hence opening up the door for a Saquon breakout. And then if Saquon breakout happens, how are you going to be able to – the real question is, like, when it's in that game script of they're focusing Saquon, they're focusing Hurts, now the ability to adjust and switch that, because it seemed as if when they try to stop, or like they were playing more passive, and Saquon wasn't able to have his openings to be able to break out for maybe a 12, a 13, or 14-yard gain. and then they go back to stopping Saquon. It was almost pretty rough for the Eagles to get back to being like, okay, now we got to pass. And being able to adjust on the fly. Now, for them to adjust, takes maybe 2-3 drives for like a deep Saquon bomb, or not Saquon, deep AJ Brown, like touchdown, or Smitty coming across the field catching something, or Goddard running his post corner and getting hit. What's it called, in the middle of like the zones when they're in coverage and everything like that. So that's really the only question and curiosity that I feel. Personally, I do see a big problem with the defense allowing 22 points from Carson Wentz. I'm not trying to dog him. That's been my guy for 4 years. So,
Longer.
What?
Wasn't he there longer than that?
No, he was there from 2016 to 2020.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I remember the Dak versus Wentz debates.
I know those were crazy back in the day.
Back to that.
But what's it called? Like seeing like his pick six, and then you throw a pick the next drive. It's like usually a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of teams, you're basically like kind of done after that. Usually that's kind of where, especially the Eagles, with a situation like that, make the game like a 30-yard or 30-point difference. Usually from that point, but it was like they kept staying in the game.
Yeah, I want to actually ask you about that because I saw the AJ touchdown to start the game. I was like, all right, the Eagles are going to win this game. But then it wasn't really much going on. Then that pick six happened. I'm like, okay, Eagles are going to win this game. But then I checked back with the game later, and my note was that this was kind of before Smitty and AJ kind of once again kind of had their big plays. But I wrote down that Philly had been shut down offensively since that AJ Brown bomb, and they cannot orchestrate drives. So that kind of, I feel like the amount of opportunities you guys gave Wentz and Kevin O'Connell to, reconfigure the offense and come back. We saw Wentz scrambling. That was actually huge. 28 yards on 4 rushes. Those are all first downs, I'm pretty sure. 89 rushing yards from the Vikings and about 313 passing yards out of him. So I think a lot of that has more to do with like the time of possession. They actually dominated 34 to 26. So I think this shines the light to me on like the boomer bust nature of the offense. And I'm going to get to my question in a moment, but I just kind of want to lay out like my thoughts for a moment. But when you talk about how they focus on Saquon, something I remember saying back in 2022 is how when teams would focus on the run game, what do? There's one high safety. Hit A.J. Brown or Smitty. You guys did that today. So I think it's good to see that you guys were doing that. But I want to know kind of where your head was at right before the pick six and then until the Smitty touchdown. Like, what were you thinking about, like, the offense? Were you feeling like, are we going to, like, this feels like last week. Like, we don't really have control of this game.
For me, what it felt like overall was like, because in that play, I still remember like right before AJ scored, that Hurts was in the pocket and then he was ready to start scrambling off rip. But it's almost like he made that gesture with his hand to tell like AJ like to kind of get sent. So kind of to me it was like to start seeing those like gestures all over again of like do this, do that, do this, do that. It's kind of more like they're trying to get the control back. Do I still think they're not ready or have the same chemistry like they did last year? Not even close, relatively. But it's like little sparks of things that I've seen in last year's offense were kind of implemented today, which is where I guess I asked the question. It's like, what makes it happen now? Then where was that weeks 1 through 5? And what made week 6 be like, oh, we're going to start implementing this, we're going to start doing this, we're going to start doing that. It's kind of like, I understand the concept, like you don't want to show your whole playbook before the playoffs, but it's like important moments like that where you're focused on the run game. At that moment, it was a blitz, that play, I do remember, that you're just like, okay, now we're going to pull this. So what did I feel? I felt happy that things came back, but I didn't feel confident. Like right now at this moment to be like, yeah, it doesn't feel right now where they're at right now is that this could be a consistent thing. Okay. It's gonna be in moments in high situations where it's like, for example, no momentum. Like we got the momentum because of that touchdown. But my question is like, if the momentum is shifted, that it's not in our favor. It's like the confidence to be like, oh yeah, we can still come back from this is not there at the moment.
I kind of feel like that's kind of how I see things. I had you guys number 7 last week. I tried not to overreact too much. I don't know where I'm going to put you guys yet, but I think you survived overall. You won the game. But like you said, not really much to really be like super giddy about, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I wanted to answer some of your questions about this week. You were talking about how if you sell out for Barkley and then the passing game's connecting, I think no matter what, that's your formula to beat the Eagles is stopping Barkley and daring Hurts to beat you. But another thing is like the Eagles seem to forget what they pay Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. It's not like these are two nobodies. Like you guys, we know who they are. It's just how are you not properly able to utilize these guys? We saw what was it? Someone recently had a ton of targets, but just the target share with those two have been off all year until this game, it appears. And I just think that's the same formula every time for you guys.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
think
it's
that's
like
the way to win.
it's like we're running consistently for a couple games straight, and then all of a sudden one game we're just like passing like monsters.
Yeah. Yes, I think I think both teams like wanted to lose today is what it seemed like because like obviously the Vikings had the 2 turnovers early that put them in the hole, but other than after that, it seemed like a slow bleed from the Eagles team.
I agree.
Like the fact that the Vikings were like what what did they lose by today? Like 4 or 5 points? Like that's ridiculous.
I would say it felt like between every single Eagles touchdown, it was like the whole team was drowning, is what it felt like. And then every time they scored a touchdown, it's like, oh my God, like we can still do it. You know what I mean? Like, is that kind of how it was, Dan?
I mean, yeah, for the most part, like the amount of times that I probably watched that game defense on both sides of the ball, like from an offensive perspective, kind of just like, yo, how are we not going down the field? But then on the defensive side, being like, how the hell are we allowing? Like, I'm not saying from the Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison standpoint, but from like Naylor, Hawkinson, Jordan Mason, like I don't know how. Yeah, it went scrambling like crazy. I'm like, how are we like allowing all this ish to happen, kind of thing? So it was like
and with Carter.
Yeah.
To add to that too, it seemed like to me just the only reason the Eagles won today was just the ineptitude from the Vikings, the offense, how broken that offense is. Because if you guys played like an actual offense, you guys lose that game. But they just couldn't do anything on offense. And to follow that up, I wanted to ask you, what was it like seeing Carson Wentz again on the field against the Eagles?
It was interesting. Honestly, like it was very like different kind of perspective. Like, of course, like seeing him the way he was, like seeing him scramble the way he did, really did give me like, what's that called? Deja vu? Yeah, deja vu in a sense of like, oh shit, man, that like he used to do that to like, yeah, he used to do that shit all the freaking time. You know what I mean? But it also kind of like it was a little sad too because there were plays, for example, when there were plays that he was throwing that I'm like, bro, like. Back in the day, you made that shit. What are we doing here? Like, kind of thing. Like, either overselling. He oversold Naylor like 4 times.
Jefferson.
He had an easy. Yo, he had an easy screen pass. He had an easy screen pass to the left or an easy out route to the left to Jordan Addison. That most likely would have been a touchdown because it was Makuba was the only defender out there, and he completely missed him. Like. He overthrew Jefferson. He gave a good ball, but Cooper DeJean ended up like blocking it like a freaking monster. But then he also had a play where he was throwing a screen to Mason, but he threw it behind him and it ended up being a loss of yardage. And of course, like that's a momentum killer overall as a team. So it's like to me that like to see the errors that he was making was pretty sad. I can't lie because it's like you could tell overall like from like a football like a mental football standpoint like it's pretty like dramatic getting like you have your whole your team who they drafted you, they loved you, you won a Super Bowl but you didn't win the Super Bowl. You get kicked out. You go somewhere else. You sell against the last game to bring the Colts to the playoffs against the Jaguars. They kick you out. Then you go to the Commanders. Then they get what? Sam
Forgot about the
Howell?
Commanders.
Huh?
I forgot he was on the Commanders.
Yeah, he was
Just
to the Commanders. Then they got Sam Howell. Kicked him out again.
Chiefs.
Then he went to the Chiefs. Back
got
on Mahomes
destroyed
with
by
Andy
the
Reid.
Broncos.
Got destroyed.
And now we're here.
And now we're at this moment.
And speaking of this moment,
I thought was he on the Rams at one point?
maybe. I don't know if he did much. Could have been. I think he might have been. You might
Yeah, I
be
thought he
right
was
about
for a little bit.
that. All right. Joey, I want to know what you think about the Cowboys, because I know you were just so excited to talk about this Cowboys team, this Cowboys offense. And I want you to talk about the Commanders as much as you can in between.
So I guess to preface this, the Washington Wizards are who I thought they were. Not a competitive football team. But to preface that as well, it's like I get they didn't have their top 3 receivers and all that. That doesn't change what the Cowboys offense did to the Commanders defense today. Just unloaded on them today. They were unstoppable for the most part the whole game. And I wanted to add that in Dallas's first 3 home games, they've dropped 40-plus points all 3 games. The offense is just clicking at a level that I can't say I've seen before. George Pickens is a monster. Javonte Williams is surprisingly a monster. He has to be the most underrated pickup of the offseason for any team, I'd imagine. He is currently, I guess you could say Rico Dowdle in the same breath because he's 3rd in the league in rushing, but Javonte's 2nd. But to talk about the Commanders, it's just they couldn't do much in the passing game today. They couldn't run the ball today. The running part was the most surprising. But I guess when you don't have your top 3 receivers, Dallas' defense can key on the run game and try and stop that. And that's a lot simpler than having Debo and Terry on the field, I imagine. But yeah, just we kicked their ass today, to tell you the truth. And it's cool, but it's sad at the same time how dominant this offense is with the defense it's paired with. That's what's disappointing in the long run of things.
I want to say, I think, I agree. The offense is amazing. I think with Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel in this game, I think we're looking at a Giants Saints 2014, Cowboys Broncos 2013.
I thought about Cowboys Giants this year.
Huh?
Cowboys Giants this year. It's probably the same type of deal.
I'm thinking it's even worse than that. I mean, the Giants offense with Russell Wilson. I mean, yeah, we had neighbors, but we're doing that with Wandale and our terrible offensive line. I mean, this Commanders offensive line isn't great, but it's not a problem. If you have Terry and Debo, and Jaden, all along with this, run game threatening every portion of this Cowboys defense, I see no reason why this game doesn't go back and forth and get to like 45-38, 45-41, some score like that. I don't know who would win. It would come down to who screws up first on offense, probably. So I just want to say that. I think you're right. The Commanders' defense has been vulnerable. That was our concern coming into this season. I think we saw that. And then also Jaden Daniels pulling his hamstring again, getting a really nasty-looking tackle on his leg, kind of getting twisted up. Thank God it didn't seem to be some kind of knee ligament injury. We'll find out more, but looks like he might miss the following week. And that was in like the 3rd quarter. Cowboys were up probably 10 points, I think, at that time. So still probably were going to win.
It was probably I think we were up around 10. It was a 2-score game at that time. But when the game started, it was like we got the ball first, we scored first, and then I was like, okay, this is the Wizards. This is the Washington Wizards. This is who they are. And then after I said that, or I thought that, we forced when they go like 4th and 2, they're going to go for it. They have an offsides. They got to punt the ball like 4th and 6. Mm-hmm. And it's a perfect punt, puts them at the 1-yard line. Next play is a safety. So it's 7-2. And then the next drive, I think they go right down the field, score touchdown. So then it's 8-2, I think. And then they go for 2 and they fail.
Yeah, they failed.
And I'm like, wow, that was quite a switch right there. But then
the backup was Marcus Mariota, right?
In mid-3rd quarter was Mariota. But then at that point, At that point, Dallas was scoring pretty much every drive, field goals. They took the lead back the next drive, and then after that, it's just they ran away with the game. But the Commanders, they were handicapped, but a win's a win. Another thing I want to talk about, Dak Prescott last 4 games. He has a 71.4 completion percentage. He has 14 touchdowns and 0 turnovers. I don't think there's a quarterback playing better than Dak right now. And I'm not trying to be biased. It's pretty obvious when you look at what he's doing on the field. He's unstoppable. And I don't think it matters what team he plays. That's why I'm pretty interested to see what the Rams or the Broncos look like this week.
Yeah, that's
also to add to that.
Game.
Yeah, also to add to that, Dak Prescott is the only quarterback since 1933 to throw for 20 passing touchdowns and 0 turnovers at home against a single opponent. It's the most passing touchdowns at home without an interception in any matchup. And the previous record was Tom Brady, 18 touchdowns, no turnovers versus Steelers. So we own the Commanders.
Is this just at home versus the Commanders? What's the stat again?
Yes. The stat at home against the Commanders, he has 20 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's like
a single player versus another opponent when they're at their home stadium.
Yes.
Probably a divisional opponent because you got to verse them twice a year, or once guaranteed a year.
Another thing, Dak Prescott at home, his winning percentage is 91.3 against the NFC East. He's 6-1 at home against the Eagles, 8-1 against the Giants at home, and then he's 7-0 against the Commanders. So I don't understand how this guy is not considered a top 4 quarterback. That's kind of where I'm at.
Top 4 quarterback?
There's Pat, Allen. You could say Lamar. I don't agree with it. Then there's Dak. Outside of those 4, have at
you know how they never added Burrow to that conversation?
Yeah, dude. Burrow's playoff performance has to have him above Dak, I think.
You can't be talking about Burrow anymore like that.
You mentioned how much of a shame it is that Dak has this defense and he's got this, this offense humming the way it is. I don't know that Burrow's ever had the Bengals offense as besides last year, a top 3 offense. But just hold on. But to remove the offensive line too. Dak's had some mid offensive lines over the past 3 years. It's better now, but how can you not look at what Burrow's done without the defense, just like Dak, without the offensive line? And if you want to say the Bengals defense overperformed in the playoffs, sure, but the offensive line, I mean, how are you not looking at what Burrow did, through the AFC playoffs, and you're just not even considering that.
The thing we're not prefacing here is that you guys try to compare Dallas to that one year with the Bengals, where I think it's the complete opposite, because that is an outlier year for the Bengals, where Dallas has multiple years in a row being number 1 offensive football points per game. That was their one year where they were like Dallas. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. That's kind of how it should be looked at.
He threw 43 touchdowns, and they had the worst defense in the league. And then 2 years before that, when he was healthy, they were a play away from going back to the Super Bowl. So it's not like it was just that year that Burrow's had this success. In fact, the way I look at it is Burrow's only issue is he's fragile. So far, his track record is made the Super Bowl, game away from the Super Bowl, really like a play away, and then 1 game away from going into the playoffs. And I think once again, probably could have beat that Chiefs team that made it this year to the Super Bowl and would have lost to the Bengals. I get that didn't happen, but I see that is he's going deep, getting screwed by his defense, or he's injured for the season. I think if you want to say, he gets injured a lot, sure, but he's got a horrible offensive line, just like Andrew Luck. So
Dak just needs to have one of those playoff runs the way he really is missing.
You're right. He needs to. This offense needs to show up the way it is now in the playoffs against playoff defenses. And I think this is the best. This might be better than the 2021 offense with the run game you guys have. So
this is the best offense of Dak's career, I would say.
If you guys make the playoffs, I'll understand the defense. But if Dak has a bunch of turnovers, a lot of what I said in my video defending him, I'm not going to say I'm going to take it away, but it's just going to add man, you had a chance. But we'll see.
I think to add to that, though, is that I think what makes this offense different from years past is just George Pickens and how much he unlocks everything. Because you can't take away one receiver. You just can't focus on one guy, where previously it was Cooper and Cooper and CD, but they weren't on the level. I feel like what CD is now today, and then Pickens. Like I feel like there's two number ones where that was a 1 and 2 back then.
Who was
And
the
another
two?
thing I wanted to say, I would probably say CD was the 2
At the
or his
time.
rookie year. Yeah, at the time he was the 2, and Amari Cooper was a guy who disappeared all the time in big games. He was never a guy that popped off in the. He owned the Eagles when we played the Eagles, but other than that, he would disappear when you needed him the most. Another thing I wanted to say about Dak, give him his flowers. Dak Prescott is the 6th player all time with 40 games with 3 touchdown passes in his first 10 seasons, and he joins the list of Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Pat Mahomes. Mahomes being on there is pretty cool because he's a little bit younger, and then Aaron Rodgers and then Russell Wilson. Those are the only 6 QBs with 40 games with 3 touchdown passes or more in their first 10 years.
So I guess
That's the list.
I guess a hater would point to Russell Wilson there. Right.
A hater would be Russell Wilson, but that just shows you how good. That shows you how good he was in Seattle.
He was great in Seattle. I never spoke badly about his years in Seattle. I said my hottest take on Russell Wilson is I think Stafford's a better Hall of Famer
That's
candidate
why it's
than
kind
he
of
is.
crazy that everybody wants to take away his Hall of Fame thing because of how he's doing on the Giants.
absolutely.
I think that's dumb. I feel like
No, it is very dumb. All right, are we ready to?
So I did have a question, of course, for the Cowboys. My only question. So, Joey, to your point beforehand, you said a win is a win. That's all that matters usually at the end of the situation. So, I guess my question is because I know you've mentioned in the past beforehand about like Hurts and the Eagles and their consistency and all this stuff throughout the teams and their win percentages and everything. So, I guess my question is like the year that, because I know you say like Hurts is just should basically be a top 16 kind of quarterback. I guess so. It's like the years of him winning plus 2022, where if I remember, it's been known as a Mickey Mouse kind of run, extremely easy schedule. By the way, handicap teams over and over again.
The playoff run.
Like,
I just want to say the
playoff
playoff run really solidified that.
Playoff run, absolutely just going through teams that basically were not built
Nothing.
and not able to show the team's true capability. So I guess what makes this situation, I guess, that much different? Because you guys played the Packers, dropped 40, gave 40. That's a good team. You played a Commanders team with basically not their starting quarterback for the rest of the game and no weapons besides Zach Ertz, who is I love him to death, but you know he's been ran through at this point. He's hurting. Krosky Merritt, and it's like
Chris Moore.
And I guess my question is like how good can the defense do if the offense can't do jack? Which we've all explained before in the past of like defenses could be elite, but you get tired if you keep getting 3 and out. So it's like
it's on the Cowboys offense to score every drive, or else the game will be out of hand potentially with how bad the defense is. But we've seen them do that this year. But this is probably shaping up to be just like the Bengals last year of Dak probably having like 40 plus touchdowns and they've missed the playoffs on the last game of the year. That's probably what's going to happen.
You guys didn't start like 0-4 or whatever they started though. That's fair.
Yeah, but right now we're 3-1 when we could easily be with any type of. If we had just the 31st ranked defense, we're probably 5-1 right now.
I'm saying you're in better
That's
shape
the thing.
because they also had a poor offensive line in addition to their defense. So like, you guys can actually run the ball, whereas they can't do that. It wasn't just the defense. It was like you're asking Burrow to chew the clock with short passing games in addition to be explosive offense. So like, Dak doesn't necessarily have to carry the entire load on offense because the offensive line can give them a complimentary run game. And that's proven through your guys' record. You've been able to close out some games, whereas they lost to the Patriots last year with Gerard Mayo week 1 and then went like 0-3. I think they maybe even went 0-4. No, they beat the Giants in week 4, I think. Yeah, so they were 0-3. You guys are in better shape than they are, but I agree that the exact like season script for them is the same. I agree.
I think we're going to continue to see them drop 30 plus points a game, but they're going to lose games where they give up 40 points.
I agree.
That's going to be what happens. But I think, with the trade deadline coming up. I'd like to see a defensive move there. We have Demario Oversharon coming back. That should be a huge boost, but I just don't know how much better it'll make the overall unit. I think Trayvon Diggs has probably played his last snap in Dallas. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's done. So that's another thing. But yeah, the defense is really handicapped. But we have this. That's just something for the offseason to look forward to, I guess, even though it's week 7
Yeah.
to fix that.
All right.
Waste the whole year deck. Prime deck.
Before we get into any of the last talking points we have, I just want to quickly go over the other games that occurred this week and kind of give my notes down, and we can kind of chime in. We'll quickly go through each of these, maybe like a minute and a half on each game. The Unk Bowl, Steelers-Bengals. I predicted that the Steelers would win, like most people. I was 8-4 this week so far in my predictions. Falcons 49ers are playing right now. But yeah, Joe Flacco can still sling it. 23 targets to Jamar Chase. Pretty impressive win for the Bengals in primetime against the Steelers. It was a short week. Rodgers, obviously, wasn't really his fault that they lost. I thought he looked good. The tight end usage, Arthur Smith, that's all good stuff. But, they got to figure it out on defense closing out these games, because we talked all last week about how we believed in that defense and Rodgers, and they let him down last week against a quarterback that joined the team like a week ago, and that's unacceptable. Joey?
I wanted to shout out the Patriots for being resilient today and responding to the adversity they faced versus the Titans today. Today was an emotional game for them. Mike Vrabel seeing his old team that kind of did him dirty, let him go. We can see how that's working out for them. They're already on to their next head coach. They fired the guy they hired for it when they let him go. But another thing, Drake Maye, he set the new franchise record today for the highest single game completion percentage, minimum 20 passing attempts with 91.3 today. And the previous record was held by Tom Brady, 88.5. This is only year 2 for Drake Maye, so I don't really know what the limit is for this guy. That's kind of what I'm really excited to see, and I might have been wrong thinking the Steelers could handle him. I think the Patriots might.
Yeah.
By another season with Drake Maye, like building into the playoffs, I think they would be. I would have to give them the edge for that.
Yeah, I agree. And then also, the Rams-Jaguars London game, I think we all agree. We learned a lot. We said before the stream, the Jaguars, pretty embarrassing loss in their second home
Really
stadium.
frustrating.
Really frustrating. I said I didn't think it really mattered that much in this game in particular that the Rams didn't have Puka, just because we've seen so many wide receivers immediately step into this offense and be productive. McVay, the mastermind. I didn't think it would be 35-7. That's pretty crazy. But anyone have any quick thoughts on Rams Jags? We'll come back to Drake Maye.
Of course, for me overall, shutting them out for 3 quarters, I believe the entire game just consistently. Also, I don't it's very disrespectful. I feel like for 3, I believe 3. No, yeah, it was no, it was 2. 2 out of their 2 of the touchdowns they threw to Devontae were all just jump balls, 1-on-1 situations. And I'm not lying to you. It's it reminded me of elementary school ball when you played with the 6th grader and you were in 4th grade, and just because he hit puberty first, he could moss you 24. That's basically what that game was for a good first half of that game. It was thoroughly frustrating overall, and it was just it's agitating because also the Jaguars had 9 points that they just let up because they wanted to just throw. It was 21-0 at the time. You get 3, you stop them again. You get another 3, you stop them. It's you're building little chunks of momentum to be able to get going. And that kicker Little that, missed a 50-yarder, but I believe in the preseason would have hit the record, right? It was a 70-yarder or something like that he bombed. So it's I don't know. Between that, and I also feel the texture of a soccer field is completely different than a football field out there in London, but they were just slipping.
Yeah. I just looked it up. Mike Evans and Davante Adams are tied with the most reception touchdowns since 2014, which was Adams' rookie year, and I think that was 1 year after Evans joined the NFL with 106. The next closest being Travis Kelce with guess how much? How many touchdowns does Travis Kelce have in second place for most touchdowns since 2014 for any receiver.
Like 180.
Okay. Well, no. Adams and Evans have 108 or 16,
97.
106. So you think it's 97, Joey? Danny, if Adams has 106, how many do you think Kelsey has?
Also, Kelsey's second. My fault.
Yeah, Adams has 106.
I'm going with Kelsey's got like 103.
Travis Kelsey has 78.
What the hell?
So you're talking about how good he is at catching touchdowns. You're damn right. He is quite literally the guy in the NFL who hit puberty first. All right. So, yeah, the Rams looking really good. Patriots, Titans, yeah. That game got a little weird for a minute there, them falling behind, but, they managed to come back. Raiders, Chiefs, the Chiefs boat raced the Raiders. I took Chiefs alternate spread minus 26.5 money, and I like that one. I don't think there's much to say about that game. Panthers, Jets. Panthers just kind of dogging it out. Bryce Young getting injured. Hopefully he's okay. But Justin Fields getting injured, coming back in, and then actually getting benched in that game. Saints, Bears. We'll talk about it.
Fields is done.
Yeah, Fields seems like he's done. Saints, Bears. We'll talk about it a little bit more later. But the Bears come out on top. I did predict that. Dolphins, Browns. I was wrong. Dolphins managed to lose, and the Browns have a dominant win defensively. Colts, Chargers was kind of an exciting game. Colts looking really amazing. With the way the run game is looking. I mean, Joey called it. He had what was it? They were number one team last week.
They were number 3, but the week prior they were number 1.
Yeah,
but I've had them at a top 3 team the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones looks great. JT's a monster. No Joe Alt kind of hurt the Chargers in this game, but just an impressive win on all fronts for this Colts team. Really, really impressive. Danny, any thoughts on the Chargers-Colts game?
Overall, listen, I got JT in fantasy, and I love seeing all the alerts that go through. And Daniel Jones' productivity has been consistent. I did believe he threw a touchdown to Michael Pittman, right?
And
Tyler Warren. So it's kind of one of those things where, how do I say? I don't know. I don't want to be like a hater and be like, oh, it's because of the weapons that Jones has around him. But I low-key think that Jones is kind of uplifting everything because, Pittman for a while was quiet and it's starting to really show.
He's definitely the best guy they've had, I would say. And I think there's no clear alpha wide receiver or weapon besides I think everyone's just really good. Daniel Jones, I think it messes with his head when there's a Malik Neighbors or Saquon Barkley, in the sense that you got to get that alpha guy the ball. But I really think Daniel Jones, has talent. He's got an arm. He's always been pretty good at putting drives together. And when the team just doesn't collapse around him, we see what he's been doing. So good for Daniel Jones and the Colts. Packers, Cardinals. This game was way closer than I thought it would be, kind of, because the Cardinals took a lead. I predicted 27-20 Packers. Packers end up winning 27-23. They should be better in this game, though. The Colts did also struggle versus this Cardinals team with Jacoby Brissett, but some gutsy fourth down call by Matt LaFleur late really gave the Packers a chance to, assert themselves and take a, assertive touchdown lead. And but how about Jacoby Brissett on this Cardinals team? I mean, I know I defend Kyler quite a bit, but Jacoby Brissett, the veteran guy, strong arm. We've seen flashes from him before, but what do you guys think about Jacoby Brissett?
I've been trying to tell you the guy on your left shoulder is the issue this whole time for the Cardinals. It's been Kyler. It's not the team. It's Kyler Murray. He's been the main issue for the team. And it might cost Jonathan Gannon his job, and I think it's unfortunate because I don't think he should be the blame for coming into a situation where there's a quarterback already in place.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's go
ahead, Danny.
But I say, especially for a defense who's been risen up so highly with all the names that it has on it, for the Packers to have such a close game, not even for the Cardinals to be so close to winning the game, kind of really defines and shows that it's the Cardinals are well put together offensively to be able to get stuff done. Defensively, of course, you're gonna need a little bit more time. I don't really hate on it because of the fact that the Cardinals got key players, Josh Sweat. Sorry, man, I miss that guy dearly. Buda Baker, Kaiser White, all those guys, like all these guys that can play. They know what they need to get done and can get it done. And it's just like who's at the forefront? Kyler. That's supposed to be like your guy. But now you see the outcome that you have with Jacoby Brissett. So I wonder where the questions kind of come from now.
Well, and this is what I'll say. Obviously, they're very different stylistically. This team did start off 2-0, beating the Saints and the Panthers. Not too crazy, games they should win. But since then, Jacoby Brissett is still 0-2. Let's remember that. It's not like he's winning these games. Let's not conflate the idea that Jacoby Brissett has been impressive for a backup with he's better than Kyler. Or, maybe it does shine a light that Kyler, he's not better than Kyler, but if you want to say, hey, we're seeing a backup come in and produce at a similar level, because what I was going to say is the past 5 games, they've lost by 1 point, 3 points, 1 point, which they shouldn't have lost to the Titans. We saw DeMarcado throw that ball away, which basically threw that game away, allowed the Titans to come back. And, the Cardinals defense allowing the Titans to literally fumble the ball 10 yards into the end zone and score the game-winning touchdown that way. So just to go back, 1 point to the 49ers, 3 points to the Seahawks. Kyler tied that game up, had them ahead versus the Titans. And then the past 2 games, we've seen them go with Jacoby Brissett and be productive versus the Colts defense and the Packers defense. So, yeah, I'll say, am I officially ready to start asking questions if Kyler comes back from this injury, and isn't like great, because they should be able to wait until he's fully healthy with the way Brissett's playing. But they got the Cowboys next week, and then they got the Seahawks again after that. 49ers, Jaguars, Bucks, Rams, 6 games that aren't really that winnable. Not that they should lose all those games, but yeah, I think
the Broncos.
They have the Cowboys. Cowboys November 3rd. They have a bye week, I think. They have a bye week. All right, but yeah, that's all I want to say about that. We talked about Cowboys Commanders. Falcons and 49ers are playing right now. Before we get into our segments that are going to close out this episode, I'm just going to give you guys an update that the 49ers, it's halftime, and they're winning 10-3 versus the Falcons. I thought the Falcons would win. Mac Jones has thrown an interception, but Christian McCaffrey is currently chowing on this Falcons team. So a little disappointing from them so far. But I guess the better coach team is taking a step up. Just so confusing, this Falcons team, beating the Bills the way they did and then, losing at halftime. But let's get back into the segments that we've wanted to talk about. And let's finish this up. Joey, you wanted to talk about Drake Maye. So
we did that already.
Yeah, but why don't you? I was gonna chime back in, so I guess I can kind of hit you with my bullet points, then we'll let Dan go. So you were talking about how he tied Tom. He broke the completion percentage record at like 92% for a game, and you reminded us so gracefully how Tom Brady did play on this Patriots team for basically his whole career, and you would think he would have that record on lockdown, and now Drake Maye has it. I talked last week about how if Drake Maye really is who we think he is. Josh Allen's first year in the playoffs, we saw him nearly upset the Houston Texans, who then went on to that Texans team take a big lead versus the Chiefs and then kind of fumble it away. But, if this Patriots team is who we think they are, I think they have a better head coach than the Bills. They look more consistent than the Steelers. And my gut says that Drake Maye is going to be good in the playoffs. And they're going to challenge the Bills this year, this season, in the playoffs and beyond this season, because the Bills have just been stagnant. And I think I really like what I see from the Patriots right now. Obviously, it's new and exciting. But I don't really see anything the Bills have on offense besides the offensive line that's like really going to help them be that much better than the Patriots. So, yeah. Dan, what do you think about that? Okay, go ahead.
I was going to add, Drake Maye has 14 total touchdowns and only 2 interceptions so far this year.
That's pretty crazy.
And yeah, he's doing that with Diggs, his number 1 receiver, and then like
Booty.
Some randoms. Yeah, Booty's had a breakout
some
year.
Respect on Booty's name. He had another long touchdown today.
May I dig in your booty?
Alrighty. Dan, what are your thoughts on Drake Maye?
Overall, I think for a young guy, he's actually very poised. I like his what's it called? The way like watching him actually like up close, seeing how
I
he
see
goes
that
through.
comment in the chat, by the way.
going through his progressions, going through his like read keys, and then being able to scramble the way he does. It's like it's kind of impressive because you could tell it's almost like he's already kind of been like practicing kind of for this moment in the sense of like other rookie quarterbacks like we've seen in the past with like Williams, Dart now, Bo Nix in the beginning or whatever. Like there was a lot of like rough edges that you kind of gotta, I guess, work with to kind of perfect. Like as you can see, like there's gonna be like an incline coming, but May like kind of already came in already like ready, I guess, ish to do this. Like today, I saw in the interview he was mentioning beforehand about how there's about 4 or 5 plays when he was reviewing on film that he pulled it too fast and he was just starting to run. But at the end of the day, it's like for like you can I guess kind of already recognize that now, like because he's made those mistakes in the past, always wanting to run, but now he's actually starting to throw. So it's like the development's a lot faster than I anticipated originally, but it's kind of my whole thing with
I
him.
agree. He looks really far ahead where I expect him to be. And like I said, if this is going to continue, there is no telling what he's going to look like in the playoffs if they do end up getting there. All right.
I want to say he was my favorite quarterback coming out, and I want to remind Giants fans that he should be the quarterback of the New York Giants.
I'm very
But
happy
you
with Maye Neighbors and Jackson Dart.
ridiculous take. Talk about one of the probably an elite quarterback. Dart, we don't know what he is.
Dart's rookie season looks better than Drake May's rookie season, to be honest.
Yeah, but Dart doesn't have the same ceiling.
Ceiling schmealing. Dart he's good at football.
Okay.
Drake, you're right though. Drake May has a high ceiling, and it looks like he's gonna hit it. I agree. So if you want to say Drake May looks like he's gonna be better, probably, yeah. But he's also a year ahead, and he's gonna be a year ahead of Dart his whole career. So until like
How old's Jackson Dart?
that's a good question. Let's check the ages. He might actually Drake May.
Drake May's 23.
23. Jackson Dart's like 21. I'm pretty sure. He's 22, so he's a year behind. So he's genuinely a year behind Drake May.
In both cases.
Yeah, and but either way, I'm not unhappy. I'm not raging that Tommy DeVito won us 3 games. I was at the primetime game. It was pretty awesome. All right, let's move on to my topic, which is that the Dolphins need to blow it up and tank. I remember having the debates over Tua and, the manufactured production in this Mike McDaniel offense with Tyreek Hill, now Devon Achane, the past 2 seasons, Jalen Waddle. I will give him that the offensive line isn't that great, but the misdirection that the offense causes, has really given him, it's really held his hand. I get he throws with great anticipation, and no one could really come in to fill in this offense last year. I think that's more on the GM and head coach for not being prepared for if Tua gets injured. They should have been ready for that. But it's just such an embarrassing loss to the Browns. All the interceptions, this Browns team and their offense is terrible. This defense is not well constructed. And I think Mike McDaniel is an offensive coordinator, could be a top 5 offensive coordinator in the NFL. But as a head coach, he has absolutely no control over this team. Everything looks improvised that they do, and everything somehow gets screwed up. Like once every other drive, there's some missed snap, someone runs the wrong route, Tua throws right to a defender, something just goes wrong. We've even seen Tua come out and talk about how people aren't showing up, and then someone calling him out for not being there early on meetings. Maybe Tua could work in San Fran, but he's going to get cut. No one's going to take on that contract. And, I'm fully out on him at the moment, at least in this Miami situation. He's got to be in an offense that has a better structure. And if I'm the Dolphins, I'm going to be looking to trade these edge rushers and these wide receivers and get ready to rebuild this team. And they need to tank this year because Phillips and Chubb especially, they have injuries. They're older than Waddle and Achane. And, by the time that your team is reconstructed, they're going to be, kind of out of their prime or fully injured and, not who they used to be. So get rid of them. Get rid of those contracts. They need to focus on rebuilding through the trenches. This offensive line is a problem. And rebuilding through youth and preparing for a young quarterback and kind of do what the Patriots did 2 years ago where they got ready for Drake. for Drake Maye.
So I guess my question is like, do you not think Quinn Ewers would be a good guy to then build around?
I
Because
don't
they
know
did
why
draft him.
Zach Wilson. I don't know why they didn't use him. He's a more veteran guy, and I think he's got way more talent than Tua. I get he's a bot, and he's done some really wacky things in his career. But like Zach Wilson has talent and should be able to extend plays a lot more than Tua can when this offensive line isn't doing its job. And maybe he's not there mentally to throw with anticipation. I know he's definitely not like that. But maybe Mike McDaniel can figure out how to use his talent if they actually do want to try to win games this year moving forward to, maybe change up the offense, use some misdirection, but maybe not have the route concepts be totally dependent on throwing with anticipation and more on making high difficulty throws and take advantage of Zach Wilson's arm because we know he's got it.
Jackson Dart's ceiling is Zach Wilson.
We're not talking about Jackson Dart, and his ceiling's way better than Zach Wilson.
That is
we
a crazy.
That
is
already.
a crazy. That is a crazy take. But yeah, no, 100%. I guess that's what my question is. Like, they drafted Ewers. I understand Wilson's on that team right now, and of course, like Ewers needs more time to develop. I guess that's the only thing. Is just like you already drafted a guy. If that's the case, it's just like let your young talent try to develop everywhere else, kind of thing. Because it's like they just drafted him this year, so like Tua, yeah, I mean he's like one more concussion away from some
Should
serious
retire.
issues.
Like seriously, it's
Like
scary.
some serious issues. So it's like you have Wilson that you could maybe start something around, and you have Ewers in the backseat, or just start. Because I did see they actually moved Ewers up to quarterback 2 to QB 2 today.
Rob
Before the
said.
game.
Rob said the Dolphins are about to have a fire sale. There's already rumors that the Eagles are about to land Bradley Chubb. I think Chubb going to the Eagles or Cowboys makes a lot of sense, helping out those defenses. Eagles need a number one pass rusher, so the Cowboys could kind of use him. And like you said, they're gonna unload a handful more guys. Yeah, I totally agree. Like that's what I'm saying is this team structure that they have was fragile enough. Players getting injured and stuff. This plan that they have right now is kaput. It's not gonna go anywhere. They need to restart. So if McDaniel's gone and they're not going to be working like this speed misdirection offense, I totally agree. Get rid of these guys. It's not their
Bradley
fault.
Chubb, welcome to.
And I know he also said the Giants. He said, "Good show, fellas. The Giants are going to get waxed next Sunday against the Eagles. Hope New York enjoyed their little mini Super Bowl." Yeah, I mean, with Carter back, the Giants should lose, but the Eagles shouldn't have lost that game to begin with either. So yeah, I will gladly take that. It was definitely our mini Super Bowl. We had no expectations of making the playoffs, so there's no way I'm gonna kind of feel bad for myself that the Giants had a quality win against the reigning Super Bowl champion, not just a division rival. He said also it's only 6 games into the season. Relax with acting like the Patriots are gonna pose any trouble for the Bills in the playoffs when these games really matter. Come on, talk to me in Week 12. I'm telling you, it's not about what we're seeing right now. There is uncertainty with how good this Patriots team could be as they develop and further gain chemistry. It's brand new. This Bills team, to me, looks more like they're expiring. There's 4 years of what we've seen this team. More so, I guess, with Joe Brady. Let's go back just 2 years. We know what this team is. People are learning how to beat this Bills team. We just saw the Falcons do it. We saw the Patriots do it the week before. The Patriots, they can continue to stack up and improve. So I do agree it's early, and this could change very fast in the other way. Maybe Drake Maye starts to look really ugly, but I don't think he'd have the start that he's had if it was kind of in the cards for him to like really collapse this year, if that makes sense. But yeah, I get it. It is early on, but I think it's fair to talk about. He broke Tom Brady's a record that I would assume Tom Brady had. All right. Do we want to move on to Dan's topics of... Why don't you introduce him, Dan?
My topics, which we already discussed about Jacksonville and my extreme frustration. So the second topic being the Bears, okay, and how I feel like nobody ever decides to talk about what Ben Johnson's really bringing out there, okay? And I'm not here to talk about the hype of Caleb Williams or anything like that because my dude did not throw a single freaking touchdown this freaking game, if I'm correct. It's just been all rushing and field goals.
Yeah.
So they literally... I have no like. To me, it's like the offensive line rebuild. In my opinion, being an offensive lineman from back in the day, I am thoroughly impressed to see Swift and what's it called? I can't remember the second string name, but the what was
Manangai.
it? Huh?
Kyle Manangai.
Was it
Rutgers.
Malanga? Oh yeah, Malanga, yeah.
Yeah.
But for Swift to go, what's it called? 19 carries for 124. Malanga to go 13 for 81, and they both get a touchdown on that. What's it called? The time of possession, the Bears had the ball for 13 minutes longer than the Saints. That's basically a quarter. The Bears had 386 total yards, rushing for 222, only allowing one sack. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I remember the time when Justin Fields was there, and that dude was just running for his life 24/7. And Caleb Williams was also running for his life his rookie year 24/7. And now we're here at a point in our lives where we say the Bears let up one sack.
Yeah, that's true. And the Bears have come a
They
long
invested
way.
a lot in their line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look at the difference at where we're at right now in terms of their record, their performance lately against teams, and being able to like stick around. They're one game from competing with the rest of the division between the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings.
They're tied with the Lions, and they are a half game behind the Packers.
Yes.
Let me see if I can pull up their schedule real quick.
And what's it called? Even though Caleb Williams did throw, an interception today, but absolutely. But what's it called? It's like that's where I guess the question kind of comes. Like the Bears built a line, and now are starting to do well. Now the question that I'm really wanting to pose to you guys is: Williams was the number 1 overall pick because he was ready because he thought that was the best guy available. But really, is he?
Is he the best talent?
Is he like the guy, or like to me right now, like at this point, it's like, we should start making moves to find a different guy. Like to me, it was like they only took 2-3 years for them to say Fields was not it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, is this going to repeat in a Ben Johnson offense that is thriving in the run, but may not have the quarterback to thrive in the pass?
I think they're going to give Caleb an endless. Caleb's going to probably get all 4 years to figure it out, and I don't think he's like that big of a problem right now. Justin Fields was an obvious issue for the Bears, but then again, they didn't have a good team around them. I like the talent
but this dude would run for like 50 yards. Scott, you and I were together when the Bears played the Eagles, and you and I thought he had some Superman run 60 yards from the end zone to the end zone.
This is something I actually went back to today because I was not impressed with what Caleb. I mean, Caleb Williams. This is what I will say. He's very impressive sometimes rolling out of the pocket and his ability to just like rip throws on the run, to players and move chains. There is something about him that just seems off. It's like obviously his talent is there, but there's just something about him that I wish there was more of like that. Caleb Williams is going to go win a football game with a game-winning drive, right? Like, I don't know if he's really done that yet. He's 0-2 versus the division right now, losing to the Vikings week 1, getting boat raced by the Lions, but then beating the Cowboys, Raiders, and Commanders, and now the Saints. So they're 4-0 after starting 0-2. Seems like, maybe our doubt is a little it's early on, and maybe they go on and win the next 4 games too, and then we're talking about the 8-2 Bears. But I agree. Fields on the Jets, like I am probably one of the most forgiving fans when it comes to quarterbacks because I've stood by Daniel Jones for 6 years and said, give him a good team and watch what happens. Look, if Justin Fields was on the Colts right now, I think they would also be pretty good. Now, I think their offense would be different. I think they wouldn't finish as many games, but I think they would be more explosive, right? Shane Steichen would figure out how to do that. He can't
pass the same way Daniel Jones can.
He can't, but I think it would just look like the way that the Eagles' offense looked, maybe even a bit more run-heavy. But I think there's no way you can tell me that Fields wouldn't open up more in the run game with Jonathan Taylor in that backfield behind that offensive line. If you're trying to tell me that Daniel Jones has the same effect in the read option game as Justin Fields, that's just not true. Even though Daniel Jones is mobile, he doesn't have the same agility, sturdiness, or vision to actually go take something to the house like we've seen Fields do a million times. So if my point is that kind of what I think Dan is insinuating about essentially was, should they have traded that first overall pick and kept Fields essentially, right? And built, they could have been 2 years ahead, right? They wouldn't have had Ben Johnson. But yeah, I always think that was a fair conversation. It's something we won't know. Fields is stuck on the Jets right now this year. He's signed through next year. I think eventually we're going to see Justin Fields have a good season. I have the same confidence in him that I do in Daniel Jones. I get he looks terrible right now, but that's just how quarterbacks look when they've got some issues they got to work through, and they're on a bad team. It's just not going to happen at that point in time. So I say, come back to me in 3 years on Justin Fields. I'm going to dig my heels in until I see him in a good opportunity. Maybe this Jets team will figure it out. I severely doubt it. So maybe they can, but I just don't see it. Caleb Williams, I certainly think has not justified the number 1 overall pick yet. I think Drake Maye looks like he could be it. I think Jaden Daniels proved to be the best guy in the class already. He's gone through.
You're wrong.
He was in pretty much the same situation as Drake Maye. I'll give you a better coaching staff, and he had Terry McLaurin. But tell me something that the Patriots roster didn't have a chance to do, with the way we saw both these teams going in, is that they were both going to be bottom 3 teams. Jaden Daniels made the NFC Championship. Drake Maye finished with one of the worst records in the NFL. Jaden Daniels was obviously more pro-ready. I know we're talking
Dan Quinn versus what's his name, the linebacker,
Maye.
Yeah, it's just a completely different situation there. And talent-wise alone, I would in a redraft, I'm taking Drake Maye 1-1. I think it would be Drake Maye, Jaden Daniels, and then Caleb Williams. That would be the redraft. I don't want to keep hearing about last year and the Commanders, blah blah blah. I don't want to hear it.
Well, it's something that happened. It's like you can't just ignore
what
it.
What happened? You get better or you get worse? What's going on now? They look worse.
Okay, Joey.
They're banged up.
Stats, Joey, when Dak had his MVP year and then went back the next year and didn't do jack with it, now we're sitting here talking about MVP again. But you want to talk about back then and you want to talk about now, and now we're talking about Drake Maye, and you're like, I don't want to hear about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had Terry McLaurin,
the best rookie season of all time.
De'Ami Brown.
He had the best rookie season. He had the best. No, he had the best rookie season ever. C.J. Stroud got boat raced by the Ravens, and I get that happened to Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels beat this Buccaneers team playing aggressive. No, listen, no, it's my turn. We're going. I'm gonna tell you why I bring this up. It's not like he just won those games. They went for it on 4th down with Jaden Daniels using his decision making or his legs with Cliff Kingsbury to convert. I think they went for it 19 times across the 3 games on 4th down, and their defense sucked. And that's why they stayed in all those games and they won. He converted more than 50% of those 4th downs in the Eagles game and in the Lions game. The only one he didn't was the Buccaneers game. And that's why I bring that up, because you cannot sit here and tell me you don't want to hear about that, because that is elite quarterback activity, is converting 4th downs with your legs.
Talking roster construction, though, we're ignoring that the Commanders had one of the oldest rosters in football last year. Sound like they're a bunch of rookies.
That sucks.
A bunch of young guys.
That sucks. All those dudes were cast away.
And they did that with the head coach who's been to a Super Bowl before. Like we're not like it was just the design of the team last year.
I'll say he had a better chance.
This year matters a lot, and that doesn't change my opinion. I would still take Drake Maye 1-1. I think Drake Maye is the better, has the higher percentage.
They're both better than Caleb, though, right?
I'm not gonna be like, oh, Jaden Daniels, he did this, so that makes him automatically better than what Drake Maye can be. I'm not gonna say that. That's
so
1 year.
My question is, so even if Drake Maye is a first round bust in the playoffs, you're still just like Drake Maye.
Give me the talent. That's what you're gonna say.
The reason Drake Maye didn't go 1-1 was people thought he was not ready. Like they said he was a roller version of Josh Allen, and look what he's doing now.
Drake Maye.
It was a dumb reason. It was a dumb reason not to take him 1-1.
I agree. He has the most upside. I mean, theoretically, Williams, because of his arm, has the most upside. Yeah. But we can see that, you you need obviously other things like decision making to help you with that. I think Drake Maye is proving right now, which I've given him flowers for already today on the show, that he has proven that he's starting to develop and really impress with his decision making. But I want to see him go into the playoffs, go for it on 4th down 3 times against the Bills and beat them, or the Ravens, or, whoever else is going to be in there this year that's going to be,
probably
really
a quarterback
competitive.
You need to do that. He'd be able to beat him without the 4th downs. That's kind of how he is.
But then he's not doing as much. He's not responsible for as much as the team's success. Going for it on 4th down and converting it is essentially a turnover. That's like getting a defensive turnover on offense. Jaden Daniels made 19 attempts at that last year.
Unsuccessful. Couldn't do it.
Jaden Daniels was injured, and I don't even want to hear that you think there was no chance for him to come back and win the game, even though he didn't have 3 of his top wide receivers.
I watched 2.5 quarters today of this guy, and I gotta say, I don't get the hype. He's not that great. He's really not that great. They were in better situations than Maye last year. I agree. But going he had a similar path last year that the Jalen Hurts had in 2023 Super Bowls. Similar type of path of just beating these hurt teams. It wasn't competitive. The Lions were trash that year.
The Buccaneers are not a joke team. We're seeing that right now.
That
team was the best matchup for the Philadelphia Eagles. They were the best team in the NFC. Dan will tell you, he was scared. He did not want to see that Buccaneers team. He's thanking the Commanders every night for the past 6 months that the Commanders beat that Buccaneers team. Because look at them now, even without some of their top players, they're still lethal. But you know who had the poise and composure to beat them and make the right plays and capitalize? Now, they did fumble, but you know what? He played a clean game, and they won because of it. They won because of how he affects the run game, how he affects the 4th downs, and I'm not going to just ignore that. We saw the 4 top teams in the NFC or in the NFL that remained last year all had the highest 4th down conversion percentages. That's not a joke. We know Patrick Mahomes is responsible for that. Josh Allen's responsible for that, and Jaden Daniels was responsible for that. So anyone who's willing to just ignore that and say, "Oh, he had a better situation than Drake Maye last year," okay, you're still skipping the part where he went all the way and had the best rookie season of all time. Non-negotiable, honestly. Tell me someone who had a better rookie season than Jaden Daniels. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't change about what you've done for me lately. It doesn't change that whole thing.
So we're doing recency bias.
That same thing. Like, what about C.J. Stroud? What about that rookie year? What about what he did with the Texans?
He couldn't do it.
An overall team. They were so bad. Yeah, they ran into they ran into a real matchup.
That's not the same. They scraped into the playoffs. The Commanders were 11-5. They almost missed the playoffs to Gardner Minshew's Colts, and they should have lost because Naheem Hines or whoever the backup running back was dropped a pass on 4th down. And that's why they made it into the playoffs. The Commanders beat out the Packers last year, got a higher seed. They benefited from it. They versed the Buccaneers, and then they versed the Lions.
Say right here, right now, Jaden Daniels will never sniff another NFC Championship game.
Oh, I'm so glad we got that on record. I'm so glad we got that on record. All right.
You know why? You won't be playing a Detroit Lions team that's playing all 3rd stringers on that defense.
So
just incompetence.
If he versus the Buccaneers, I'm confident in a fully healthy Commanders team as much as any other team to be clutch in the playoffs. Go for it on 4th down, do all that stuff. Having those mobile quarterbacks who make those sharp decisions, that's what makes the quarterback unstoppable. He's better at Dak than that. That's why I have him ahead of Dak, because he can extend plays with his legs better.
I care more about the quarterback stuff, and Dak's way better.
I mean, this year, right now, I'm taking Dak because Jaden Daniels has been getting injured, but I'm just saying, like, if it's like a fresh slate next year, that's going to be my expectation. All right,
I think we should return this.
I think we should. We have our weekly Jaden Daniels segment. I guess that's just gonna happen.
That's gonna be coming in until we get a Commanders fan. That's basically what we're
until we get a Commanders fan. We're just gonna be. I just want a Commanders fan to represent that. But either way, so Dan, you said the Bears are starting to impress. The Jags are frauds. I said the Dolphins need to tank, and Joey said Drake Maye has been extremely impressive and looks like he could break out and have an elite rookie quarter or second year breakout. All right. I guess other than just saying how much of a boss JT is this year, looking like they have the best run game in the league for the Colts.
Scott, looking at this year, Jaden Daniels' QBR this year is 53.1.
He played like one healthy game, bro. You're comparing.
Add that in.
Sure, this is his healthy. What was Dak's QBR in the season where he hurt his thumb in the first game versus the Buccaneers?
Better than 53.1. We ended up having the number. Remember, we went over this. He ended up having the number one offense in football. We had points per game.
Jaden Daniels comes back and everyone's healthy. I wouldn't be shocked.
When he snapped his ankle?
The season was over. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, Jaden Daniels has been injured twice so far. Okay, and you're gonna try to hold this against him when he's played. It doesn't really look that different to me this year. It looks like he's the same guy he was last year, which was an elite quarterback, and he's been. It looked like he peaked.
It looked like similar to CJ Stroud. That's probably what it looks like.
He's
to me.
played like 3 games, three games in like 2 quarters.
You can't make the club if you're sitting in the tub.
All right, well, that's been Dak's issue before.
I'm not gonna lie.
So.
After the year that Dak broke his ankle, didn't the NFC East became the NFC least? Like we were all trash that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dak carried the division for a long time. Well, he owns everyone in our division.
All right.
He's their father.
I think it's time to save the rest of this for tomorrow. Guys,
Indeed.
Tomorrow we will be doing our top 10 teams where we will be figuring out how we feel about this week 7, the rest of the games that are going to be happening. There are 2 games that are going to be going on tomorrow night. So there's going to be 4 teams that are going to be a bit up in the air. That's the Buccaneers and the Lions. One of those will be impactful. That one is happening at 7 o'clock, though. So we will have a bit of an idea of where that is. And then the Texans and the Seahawks will be playing at 10 o'clock at night. So that game won't even start by the time we see it. But, when it comes to the Seahawks, the Lions, and the Buccaneers, I will see what we can do when it comes to the top 10 lists. But that is all we got for you for the 3rd installment of the NFC East podcast. Hoping to do this. It's probably going to be 8 o'clock, I would say, every Sunday night moving forward. Seems like the best time for all of us. And like I said, get ready for tomorrow at 8 o'clock for the top 10 lists for us 3 to kind of discuss that and the rest of what we missed this week. And then hopefully Thursday we can get out our predictions for the games in week 8. That's all I got for you guys in this one. And I will see you all tomorrow. Guys, anything else?
Nope.
Jane Daniels is overrated.
All right, that's it. I'm ending this.
All right, guys.
Peace.